Hey Saber Force, how are you? Adam here. I want to check in today and show you the area that I use to build my sabers. It's something I got into a little less than a year ago, and actually after seeing Brian's video today, it kind of inspired me to shoot a quick video myself. And hopefully maybe it helps a couple of people. Pretty much, I wanted to build sabers. I saw it online, some of the custom ones, and so I wanted to do one, some myself. I knew nothing about it, so I went online in the forums and searched and finally found out the information and built my little catalog of what I needed and stuff like that. So maybe showing you some of the stuff here to help you out. I know watching the videos on YouTube and stuff like that definitely helped me, especially from the custom saber shop. The videos they post on there are awesome and very helpful. So anyway, so I wanted to keep this pretty short, so let me show you my space and I'll go over a couple of things. Maybe it'll help you out down the road, and hopefully Brian, this will help you out as well. So anyway, let's get to it. So it's just my garage area. I don't have any kind of fancy setup. You don't need anything. You really don't even need that to spend that much money on stuff. Obviously, one of the big things you need is solder, soldering gun, some solder. Definitely helping hands here. This is pretty much a necessity. It really helps you to keep your wires and stuff in there, so you can solder it and you can hook up your soundboard and stuff like that, and kind of keeps everything in place. So you can solder it, everything together. Anyway, so you have your soundboard. This is the Spark 2. I got this from Nigon directly. Just one of the soundboards that you can use to clean your solder iron off. Just bought this on Amazon. It was one of the ones that recommended. Works awesome. Also fairly cheap. You have your switch. This is the blue illuminated one, 12 millimeter, which will fit into the Saber Forge hilts. You need a 16 millimeter for the Ultra Saber hilts if you want to use those. Obviously, if you're doing PVC, which is what I started out with, then you can pretty much use any size you wanted to. Your 18650 battery holder, and all these things can be found, minus the board over here, can be found on the custom saber shop, or if you know any other spot you can get it. That's pretty much the place I go to. The reason why you can't find this on here, the Spark boards, is the custom saber shop sells the Plector boards. Anyway, you can get those directly from Nigon himself. So your LED holder with copper base. These are the 1-inch, and these fit directly into the Ultra Saber and Saber Forge hilts if you wanted to use those. This is the one I'm using for the Spark 2. This is a red, green, blue LED, and that is the memory card for the soundboard. This is the glue I use for holding the ends on the sabers. I've used it a bunch of times on tons and tons of blades, and it works awesome. I've never had a blade fly off yet, or the tip fly off yet. So this is awesome to use. This is definitely something I recommend. Just a couple alligator clips and 2 AAA batteries. This will work great for testing your LEDs. And so you'll test those before you put it in and hook everything up. That way it works before you kind of cram everything into the hilt. Excuse me. A pair of scissors, you have your wire cutter and strippers. Pretty much I'm a huge Amazon shopper, so it's pretty much where I get all my stuff. I don't really get into too much of the crazy making the internals look fancy with all the goth internals. So this is what I use, the T8 tube, to house everything within the hilt. So this will keep it from hitting the sides of especially the aluminum hilt. It's not so much to worry about, with the PVC, but this keeps it all nice and neat on the inside. And this is just tubing that you can find in Home Depot or Lowe's hardware store. Really cheap. It's for light bulbs to keep it housed, to keep more of an impact to it. Also works awesome, keeping everything intact within the saber as well. I've used it on tons and tons of installs. I think I'm up to about 30 now that I've used this, and it literally works flawlessly. Never had a complaint yet. So over here, this is just a little wire cutter. Here's the next tilt I just received from Saberforge that I'm going to be installing soon. It should be pretty fun to deal with since it is pretty small. That's the Bastion, you didn't know already. So we have our heat shrink, also found on Amazon. This is pretty much the one that you're going to be using the most. This is the 1/16. Definitely want to use heat shrink on your wires. I do have electrical tape. I don't use that for the wires, just maybe to wrap every wire together to make it look a little bit neater and fit better within the hilt. But as far as the soldering joints go, definitely do the heat shrink. That'll keep everything nice and tight in there. As far as wire goes, I've been using the 28 gauge Remington. Works awesome. Never had a problem with it. Of course, every once in a while you get when you're dueling and stuff like that, you'll get joints that'll pop off and stuff like that. But I've never had a wire snap or anything like that. It's a good size. It works in tight builds and stuff. I just finished KRS-4 saber, and that's if you know anything about those, that's a smaller build. That's a pretty tight hilt. So, and I use this wire for that as well, and it works great. It comes in all the different colors. If I didn't say, I also got this from Amazon. And having the different colors will definitely help you. Figuring out what goes to what when you're doing your builds. To your speaker, to your power supply, your positive, negative, and stuff like that. So of course, you have to have your diagrams, and when you have it all laid out in front of you, it makes it a lot easier to do your builds. And I have a whole bunch of different ones. This is the one for the saber core. And of course, I have ones for the Spark 2, Spark Color 2. I have my Prism and kind of Viscotti in here someplace. But, just these can be found online on the forums and stuff like that. If you need any help, definitely hit me up and I'd be happy to help you with it. So this is going to be my next project too. And this is going to be a string blade I'm going to do. These are the LEDs. I'm going to make it a blue one. 5mm straw hat LEDs. Probably take about 160, I don't know, 180 maybe LEDs all strung together to make up a full blade. So that's just another little new project I'm doing. And you gotta have your different parts and stuff like that. Different screws and everything. Just different ways to decorate your hilts and stuff. These are more when I was doing the PVCs. That's Saberforge. Different blade plugs I've created over the time, just testing different ones out. And these are, when I first started, I was actually, to save cost, I was taking the soundboards out of the cheapy Hasbro sabers and using them and wiring them up. So this is an extra one I haven't used that's been sitting around, but these work awesome if you want to cut costs, and they're about $10. A couple extra little parts and you're up and running. You can use it with the full high power LEDs as well. The only problem is you don't get doesn't sound good as good as the fancier boards, but it's you can find them actually for about $10 in the stores now that I've seen on sale. So they do work pretty awesome if you're saving costs and not too hard to wire up. And these are all the extra parts I have. Gotta have extra parts laying around when things break and you want to fix them. And if you're doing an install for somebody, you have extra parts around. So thermal tape for the LEDs, and then extra batteries. Gotta have a bunch of resistors, all different ohms. A dyna ohm resistor, which is great for the illuminated switches. Definitely gotta have a couple of those. Extra switches, all different ones, latching, momentary, recharge ports, speaker holders, speakers, bass and the premium ones, 20mm and 28mm. And then LEDs and extra soundboards down here. Should be a prism, another spark in here, I believe an Viscotti on here. And as far as, I know I had some color wheels around here. So these are great if you have a all white LED and you want to change pretty much the color to kind of whatever you want. These are great to use. These are more holders. And then blade tips go down here. There's a green one. The clear. So for the thick blades. And then one last thing I wanted to show you that I found to be pretty awesome. If you want to use the white LEDs instead of using those color discs, you can use these leaf filters. These are pretty cheap too, about $8 for a whole pack, and as you can see there are a ton of colors. And you can pretty much mix and match whatever color you want and get whatever color bleed you want. I use them. I've used them a bunch, and they really work awesome. Pretty simple to do, just cut them out to the sizes you want. I keep them a little baggy, and you can stack them, and they work out pretty awesome. So if you guys ever have any questions or have any problems, feel free to hit me up. Be really more than happy to help you, and if I don't know the answer, I can at least maybe try to point you in the right direction. So may the force be with you. Hope you like it, and God bless. See ya.